Alright, let's see. So
It's very concerning for the longevity of the game. What I'm guessing is that these are likely the very first maps that Riot level designers ever made, and Tesla just focused on making sure the gameplay just wasn't completely broken. I think this is the case because of something called the whiteboard test. You can pause and read this if you want, but the general idea is that CSGO maps usually lie under these categories, and then the Valorant maps lie under this one. Before I even played the game for the first time, I could tell from the overviews that the spawn path things are honestly embarrassing for professional level designers, especially considering Volcano's on the dev team. Without even considering the gameplay, these parts of the map just look bad. When you make your very first Counter-Strike map, you make the CT spawn and the path to the bomb sites. When you realize that this pathway is too strong to hold with an op, you put a wall in the middle. Yeah, that's it, and that's all the effort they put into it. If you showed me a picture of this layout, I would have guessed you found it on the CSGO workshop sorted by new. Despite there being teleporters, in one map having 3 bomb sites, it feels like the dev team took 0 risks and stuck to the CSGO 4-leaf clover formula in the most literal sense possible. Yeah, the maps could be balanced, but that doesn't mean they're fun or interesting, and the novelty of agent abilities isn't going to compensate for this in the long run. Yeah, I am being petty here, but Valorant has very large shoes to fill if it's going to compete with a game like Counter-Strike. When playing these maps, walking around just felt like there were the bomb sites, and then there were the pathways that blocked vision from the bomb sites. Riot puts way too much focus on breaking lines of sight and limiting what you can see from where, so it feels like you can never see beyond the room that you're in. And then as a consequence of this, map control feels insignificant in this game. Taking the middle areas don't feel rewarding, they just feel like second pathways to the bomb sites that you can't rotate through as defenders because there's too many extra corners to look behind. This brings up an extremely important aspect of level design, which is simplicity. Without even playing on the map, just look at how insanely cluttered this is compared to these. These jagged edges
compared to these.
These jagged edges scattered throughout the map make the game way less accessible. When you first play this game, there's constantly moments where it's like, oh, you can hide behind that corner? Okay. It's fine if it happens like once or twice, but ideally, as a level designer, you want that to happen as little as possible. Also, in my opinion, the maps are unbelievably claustrophobic. There's very little freedom to position yourself around one angle. It's so restricting of the gameplay that both sides feel like I'm fighting against the map rather than against the other team. In general, every position on a map will have trade-offs in terms of vision and exposure when holding or pushing something. It feels like Riot puts so much emphasis on limiting the power of any single position that map control does not feel like a real component in this game. The last thing I want to talk about is spawn barriers. I know it's a really smart idea, but in my opinion, all it has done is introduce laziness into the rest of the map's design. I don't know Riot's real reasoning for introducing barriers, but my guess is that certain abilities broke the game, like Jet's dash and people trolling with Sage. But despite that, getting the spawn timings right is just one of the harder aspects of competitive level design, because you also need to consider rotation times and lines of sight at the same time. I'm not saying that spawn barriers should be removed by any means, but you can't deny that that definitely had an influence in things like this getting to Grey Box stage. When there's little incentive to make the spawns and the nearby pathways more interesting, they're obviously going to be unfun to be in once the round starts. To be honest, I only really enjoyed the game while on the bomb sites, and then everywhere else in the map.
Sure, if you think about this, like, if you think about, this is the most ridiculous use of space. You just cut this off right here, dude. You know what I mean? Just cut this whole motherfucker off right here. And just use that space somewhere else. Maybe just go right there. You know? It's like, think about like Dust 2. When you rotate through Dust 2, Dust 2 is still a viable position to hold. It's right under and in between a site. But this is just a big fucking, it's just a thing to rotate through. That's it. That's all its purpose is. It's a rotation device.
Getting to Grey Box stage. When there's little incentive to make the spawns and the nearby pathways more interesting, They're obviously going to be unfun to be in once the round starts. To be honest, I only really enjoyed the game while on the bomb sites, and then everywhere else in the map, we're just mostly unfun being in, despite how often you have to be there.
What do you think, chat? So this guy quotes, says, so he quoted like what the things he says that he liked. Taking the middle areas don't feel rewarding. They just feel like second pathways to bomb sites. The maps are unbelievably claustrophobic. Both sides feel like they're fighting the map instead of each other. I only enjoy the game while on the bomb sites. Yeah. When you plant the bomb, it's nice. Okay, let's play. No more videos. Oh, bro, I don't know how to make maps. I'm not a map designer, brothers. I ain't no motherfucking map designer. I couldn't. That guy breaks it down. I just opened Valorant out of habit. But I can't. I couldn't tell you like all the problems with Valorant. But I can tell you as a player playing Valorant, it does feel claustrophobic. When I say, I tweeted this morning, or before I got on today, that every map in Valorant is Inferno in disguise. And that's one of the maps on Counter-Strike I don't enjoy playing because everything is a small corridor. And it's so sucky. Think about maps like Cobblestone, okay? Do you remember Cobblestone? How open it is, how free it is, how you can see people anywhere and everywhere and get into very big open aim battles. And then think about Inferno and how locked in you are. And they're just two very different worlds. But every map on Valorant so far, the three at least that are given, feel like Inferno. I should really like Cobblestone. It's beta, they could change them. Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt. But how do they know what to change? Or that